Today I'm going to take a photograph of someone and I'm going to turn that person into an alien. The lesson that I'm using chose a photograph of Tom Cruise. You may choose another celebrity or a friend of yours. Please don't choose one of your teachers or one of the school administrators. Try to choose someone whose face is clear, looking straight ahead, maybe someone who's not wearing glasses. It's a little easier to edit that. And someone who perhaps has their hair pulled back or cut short so you can see their ears. This lesson, if you want me to zoom this in, will turn our regular Tom Cruise into an alien. So here, just watch it just real quick. And we're going to take his nose away, make his eyes huge, a little glow in them, change his ears, change his coloring, put some kind of veiny look on his face, make his forehead taller, and he's going to look pretty otherworldly by the time we're done with this lesson. So, I'm going to get back to Tom here. The first thing I want to do is make sure that if I've got a background layer, it's unlocked. So if I look at my layers panel, there's a little padlock right there. What this is going to accomplish is it's going to put a transparent background behind this. If I leave it locked, there'll be a white background behind it. But if I unlock it, there'll be transparency. So click that and it unlocks and it becomes layer 0. I'm going to zoom in on the eyes because I'm going to use the eraser tool. The eraser tool is right here and my brush is a little large. Yours is going to depend entirely upon the size of the photograph you use and the size of the eyeballs in that photograph. Mine, I'm going to go with maybe 10 or 15. Oops, excuse me. I'm going to zoom in and just erase the eyes. That checkerboarded background does mean that I have a transparent background. If you're seeing a white background, then you need to make sure that you've got the layer unlocked. So the eyeballs are gone. Creepy. And the next thing that this lesson wants me to do is it wants me to get rid of the nose. So there's his nose. The people who wrote the lesson would have us use the clone stamp tool. That's the one where you alt-click on something you want to keep and then you just drag over the thing you want to get rid of. You might have to alt-click several times. And that's not a problem, it's easy to do. This lesson, I believe, was written before the advent of the healing brush tool or the patch tool. So you're welcome to get in there and use either one of those if you wanted to. We're trying to, the patch tool might do a really neat job on this. We're trying to make the nose look completely flat. Not crystal clear on why, but in sci-fi a lot of aliens are noseless, so I think this is in keeping with that theme. That right there is one nose-free celebrity. So there he is, so far so good. The noseless, eyeball-less Tom Cruise. The next thing it has us do is to use the Liquify tool. The Liquify tool is a really interesting piece. It's under Filter. So Filter's right up here, and we're going to pull it down to Liquify. When we pull it down to Liquify, that's going to actually take a moment, and it's going to open up a new window. There's a couple of different things that I think are interesting here. The lesson will have us use the Forward Warp tool. I specifically enjoy the Bloat tool, which is right down here. So I'm going to use both of them, Forward Warp and Bloat. The Bloat tool, quite simply, makes things larger. Now you may set your brush size over here just based on how large you think you need this to be based on your picture. Mine, I want the brush to be just a little bigger than the eyeball. If I click and let go, it pushes that larger. And then I'm going to make my brush even bigger. That's a little too big. And, oh my gosh, make this even bigger and it's going to bloat that out even more. What you're trying to do is give him these big, bulgy alien eyes, right? And you can make the brush even larger. And suddenly, lo and behold, you've got big, bulgy alien eyeballs. Fascinating stuff. The other thing this lesson has you use, besides the bullet tool, is the forward warp tool. I'm going to make these just a little bit bigger. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there it is. That definitely looks like it's from another planet. The forward warp tool is this one at the very top. It looks like a finger pushing at something. The forward warp tool is kind of cool. It's going to give him some pointy little alien ears. So if you just drag up like that, you can definitely do some cool stuff to make him look like he is not from around here. You can also make his eyeballs have some cool shape to them too. It's up to you. That is all options with the forward warp tool. If you totally mess this up, just hit cancel and try again. But bloat and forward warp are pretty cool. So when you click OK, it changes it. I talk about it before and after. Before, after. So there it is. We've got pointy ears, we've got big buggy eyes, and now we're going to make a layer that's got the dark eyeballs on it. My layers panel has a add new layer button right down here at the bottom. If you can't find that, you can go to layer. Oh my goodness. And I believe, well now, I thought it was over here. I apologize. Yes, it is. New layer. I'm sorry, it was at the top of my list. Layer, new layer, or you can click right here and it makes a new layer. We're going to take this top layer that we just created and pull it down below layer 0 and drop it. Because what's going to happen with that layer is we're going to take a bucket of paint and turn it black. My paint bucket is actually hiding under the gradient tool. So if you find this thing that looks like a raindrop or you find the eraser, it's right between those. Click and hold down the gradient tool and you will see the paint bucket. And I can't see my paint colors right now because my toolbar is pretty small, but you can see right now that black is going to be the color I paint. If you don't have black as the color you paint, or if you wanted to turn the eyeballs purple or something, you can double click right here using this bar to get a range of color and then clicking inside of here to choose the color you want to use. I'm going to actually stick with black, and on layer 1 with my paint bucket and black, I'm just going to dump paint and that whole layer turns black. If you hide layer 0, you'll see the bottom layer is entirely black. The next thing I want to do is give a little kind of glint of light to it. So I'm going to swap black and white, easy enough, and take my brush tool. And I'd like to have my brush be kind of fuzzy. So I'm going to pull the hardness down to 0 and pull the size up to something that I think is going to look good. In this case, I'm going to go with something like 50 and just click once here and click once here. So now he's got this kind of glint of light in the eyeballs. Another thing that the lesson suggests is using the burn tool. So the burn tool is hiding under the dodge tool right there. It looks like a hand sort of touching fingers and thumb together. The burn tool I'm going to set at a larger size here. And just generally, they said to go around the eyeballs and burn. So if you look at my layers, if I burn anything right now, it's going to burn on layer 1. I'm going to go to this top layer, and I'm just going to put some burn around the eyes. They said to do it around the ears too, but that's going to be up to you. That's pretty interesting. They also said to take a look at the color balance. So if you go to Image, Adjustments, and Color Balance right here, the lesson would indicate that it might be good to look at shadows, midtones, and highlights. So let me see what they want with shadows. Ah, I see. They wanted you to play with these a little bit. Move these around until you've come up with the color that you think is perfect. They said in this one, to be precise, this is just a rule of thumb. Shadows, they wanted to have 20 as the center number. Midtones, they wanted to have 20 as the center number. And highlights, they wanted to have 40 as the center number. I'm not particular. That's kind of greenish. It's kind of interesting. You may also go to image adjustments and you can look at hue and saturation and simply just slide this bar around, whatever makes you a happy person. If you wanted to be a green alien or a purple or a blue alien, your call. But your call. You can do that. To grunge the face up, the thing that I think works the best for my money is the pattern stamp tool. The pattern stamp tool is hiding under the clone stamp tool, and if you come up to the top here, you can see a bunch of different patterns. This one, and perhaps this one work really well. What I'd like to do is make a brand new layer right here, and put it on top of the face, and then use my pattern stamp tool with some unusual pattern selected, your decision, and just do a little bit of pattern stamping around on the face. And this is going to distress you a little because you're going to worry that you've totally ruined all your hard work. But fear not, because what you're going to do is change the layer mode here. Where it says normal, you're going to pull this down and find something that you think is a better option. And there's no wrong answer on this. Overlay is kind of cool. Soft light. Hard light. No. Make a choice. Find the thing that you think is the best thing. And you can also change the opacity. So it's kind of a neat option for you to do there. One of the other things that they want you to do is make your alien have a taller forehead. So if I use my marquee, my rectangular marquee, I can just draw right here, making sure I'm on layer 0, and I can do a free transform. So if I go to edit and I go to free transform, oops, cancel that, pardon me. What I needed to do was to go to edit, free transform, and I can make this a little taller. So if I stretch this out, you suddenly got a taller forehead. May need to stretch out layer 2 also. So let's see what happens there. So you can make choices about your alien face. I just hit Control D to get rid of my selection. That's deselect. So I'm going to pull my opacity down a little more. And you know, I'm not thrilled with this color, so I'm going to go to image adjustments and play with this color a little more. Maybe I do want a purple alien after all. That's a pretty good green though. Yeah, that might be the winner for me. The next thing it wants in this lesson is to make some lines on the face. So I'm going to make another layer. I like to make another layer every time. And let me pick out a color that I think is going to be particularly interesting for this. Okay, and that I'm going to take my paintbrush here. And I'm going to draw some lines. Now, they had lines going down the center of the face. They had lines coming out from the eyeballs. And I'm going to use a paintbrush here and just draw some lines out from the eyeballs, because the one down the center of the face wasn't my favorite. On this new layer, oh, pardon me, I killed my layer. On this new layer, you can just draw some lines out from the eyes. And they're not looking great, I will admit it, but I'm going to change my layer mode in just a minute, and they're going to be so genius. Yeah, this is not the world's best art, but trust me when I say that this will all change in just a minute when I change my layer mode. Let's multiply and change my opacity down to that. See how it changes everything about what I just did. So that is a nice feature to add. From here, I'm about to run out of time on my free video, and I'm not going to pay for a darn thing. So from here, I'm going to ask you guys to exercise a little creativity, change things up, You can maybe add another layer with another pattern on it. You can maybe add more lines. You can add more things like that. You now know how to change the layer mode and the opacity. So when you're